Hey YouTube, it's Adrian. Just before we get you to this video, do me a favor and head over to pageantlaunch.com. We are starting the world's first dedicated pageant review site, and I would love for you to join our launch team. All you need to do is put in your email address. It's completely free. We are looking to make a pageant industry that is safe, transparent, and fair. I know it's like that most of the time, but over the last year, it's become very evident that it's not like that all of the time. So head over to pageantlaunch.com, put in your email address, and let's get you to this video. Evening, everyone. Welcome to Pageants and PJ's number 32, where we occasionally, very occasionally, talk about pageantry. I've got Danielle and Lauren with us as usual, and our special guest, a very familiar face from, was it 2 days ago, ARYANA?
2 days ago.
Miss Diamond, UK 2018, ARYANA NEO. ARYANA, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you all?
Anyone
Good.
want that?
Yeah.
I was going to say dead silence. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're doing well. We've already told Ariana's husband to turn his TV down. I'm still feeling, if you didn't catch our interview, you really should watch it, you guys at home, and you'll see why I feel sorry for Ariana's husband.
It's really not that bad, guys.
Oh, bless him.
He looked, anyway, after we finished the live interview, Ariana introduced me to him. I bonded with the man, let's put it that way. In the top right this week, we've got Lauren Parkinson. Lauren, you had a birthday stream. And aside from that, how has your week been going?
It's been really good. I kind of had a birthday social distancing garden get together on Wednesday, along with popping on face house party just for like 30 seconds to see the girls. And then Saturday we did a quiz all about me. And that was fun too.
Who won that quiz? I missed the quiz. Who won?
I think we all won at this
like
point.
Who win. It was like if you got the question wrong, you had to down all your drink.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah.
Joanna got one wrong. Everyone got my mum's name wrong because it's a trick question.
That was a trick question.
Yeah, because my mum's name that she's called isn't her real name. So it was like her name's, she calls herself Louise. That's her middle name. Her real name is Sarah.
Oh, right. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
everyone got that wrong and everyone had to down their drink.
I
I
have a
was
feeling
annoyed at
that all of you got a few questions wrong, given the state of you all when I jumped on House Party with y'all. Some of you were quite horizontal. Very.
Was I on that house
I was
party?
in bed ready to sleep.
Danielle doesn't even remember.
I don't
Yes,
even
Danielle.
remember. I was day drinking before the quiz even started, so
Oh my goodness, lockdown drinking.
yeah. Well, I had my friend over. We had a social distancing friend meet up in the garden, and we had some Chinese food, and we jumped on the Zoom quiz. So hence why I can't remember it so much. It's a little bit hazy.
I'll let Joanna answer this for you.
Thanks, Joe. It's nice to know where I was at that time. I know I was safely at home, so.
You and Lauren were both horizontal and both in bed, looking very ready for bed and looking a little worse than you were.
Yes, now I remember.
You remember now?
Yeah. Me and Lauren
It's
were
all
both
coming back
passing
to
out.
I hope Maggie G's recovered from her hangover the next day.
Well, you and Danielle, being the old ladies that you are, disappeared off the house party at the same time. I was left with Joanna and Meg, and Meg gave me an impromptu sort of lesson on how to speak the Welsh language, and I started imitating the Welsh accent, not the language, the accent, and I don't think I did it very well, but I'm getting there.
Well,
I'm getting
do
there.
share. Do share.
Yeah, I was thinking, and I was like, come on. You can't
It's not ready
tell
to be
half the story.
debuted yet, but I will say, to me, the Welsh language, because Lauren, before we went live, was talking about Thai being a tonal language, like going up or down actually changes the meaning of a word, which is exactly the same as Chinese. Welsh strikes me as being very musical. Like when I can't do it because I can't remember now, but when Meg speaks, it's always going up and down at the same time. I got it to repeat the phrase again and again, and it had the exact same intonation every time. So I need more lessons, Ariana, before I'm ready to debut it. Joe says, think Meg's still drunk or passed out.
Might be.
She was lying down on her couch, which
I think
looks
she
great.
added you into that house party about a million times.
Yeah.
She just kept clicking the button of
She's
add
like,
Adrian. I was like, Meg, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's all coming back to me now. She was like, we need Uncle AK, we need Uncle AK.
I've used House Party so little that it's one of the only apps that still has the notification noise. So I was in bed because it was 5 a.m, and I just kept getting beep, beep, beep. And I'm looking at my phone thinking that I've forgotten something, and all I see is the House Party, the waves. And like Meg has sent me like 10 hands, and I'm like, what is going on? So, and then I wanted to jump in the shower, and it was still going on. Anyway, Lauren, are you feeling any wiser now that you are a year older?
No, I just feel the same. The wrinkles are getting more prominent.
No.
But,
God.
I'm sure I'll survive. I've got some collagen downstairs. I'll just have to take some more of that.
When we were on House Party, you guys started comparing grey hairs. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I've got a
remember
bunch
that.
of grey hairs too.
Okay. Danielle was gradually
I'm kind of
repeating
glad
the
for how my head's being cut off here because I've got greasy hair too because I need to go and wash it.
Won't be able to see it.
I don't really have any grey hair. Like I've had a couple in my lifetime, but I don't really. I've been very lucky. I've been very,
That's
very
good.
fortunate considering I'm approaching 32 soon. So
Yeah.
I think Joe did actually win that one.
I don't think that's the one thing that Joe didn't want to win though, was the grey hair contest. All right,
Bless.
Joe, I would beat you at that one.
You'd never know because she could just diet herself.
Yeah, that's true.
That's very true. So Danielle, apart from forgetting what happened on that night, how has your week been?
Yeah, it's had its ups and downs. I've been motivated, been lacking motivation, talking with the girls. Not much to report really, other than having my best friend around that day. It was really nice. Yeah, Joe, a win's still a win.
She
yeah,
doesn't
not
colour her
really.
hair.
Yeah, I've been feeling very unmotivated recently, and today I've really had to give myself a kick up the backside. So I'm back on the health bandwagon, as you do when you start to get motivated. So other than that, yeah, it's just like another week in lockdown. There's nothing exciting to report. I wish there was I had pageant news.
Yeah.
Well, let's just, between us, can you bring me up to date with what has been cancelled, what has been postponed, and what is still going on, both in a UK and an international sense? So my understanding is that Universe International was cancelled, but that's a rumor, pretty strong rumor, but still a rumor.
Yeah.
Miss International is cancelled until 2021. Are those two right?
So we've got
heard
Universe GB that's been cancelled. Well, still trying to find a new date. We've got Miss Wales still trying to find a new date. You've got Universe is rumoured to be in the first trimester of next year.
Yeah, I reckon
You've got International, which is
cancelled.
International is going to be in autumn next year. Is that right? Fall next year.
Fall of next year.
The international
anyway.
one or the domestic UK one?
No, the international.
The international.
The international.
Miss International in Japan is rumoured to be in fall next year. You have Royal, which is Holly Robinson's, has been. I think they said they were trying to find a new date and not to really ask many questions on it, but I saw that she put a status up.
Okay. So what's going ahead? Is anything going ahead right now? What about
Pageant Girl is August 8th, so at least we've got Pageant Girl and International is
really
August
hope
8th.
that goes ahead.
Yes, hopefully that'll be able to.
That's going to be incredible if that is still going ahead. It's going to be literally it'll be everyone back, isn't it?
Packed.
I
Back
saw
in-
Galaxy
Yeah.
Portugal was happening in November. I think they put a little statement out today.
Right.
But if I'm being honest, like we've been speculating, obviously, in our group chat about obviously the Universe and Miss Wales, because obviously me and Joanna are in that group chat and we're competing in. I'm in Miss Wales, Joanna's in Miss Universe Great Britain.
I think that's the worst
we
thing,
just think
being
it's
in
gonna-
limbo. I think that's the
Yeah.
worst thing.
Yeah,
Because when
and it could be like
Galaxy,
a tight squeeze trying to crown a girl, and then if they are going ahead in January, I mean, you're going to have to crown someone
Yeah.
at least
That's
2
ready
or
to
3
go.
months in advance to get their wardrobe ready, because it doesn't really give you that much time to find your national costume, your evening wear, get fit, and well, I know you're going to be fit and ready, but like even more prepared for those competitions.
Time has been moved to February 20th and 21st. But that's
Okay.
obviously next year. So that's started
is
again.
that Diamond UK?
UK, that's
Yeah.
UK, yeah.
Okay, so basically the only thing that we know at the moment that is going ahead is Pageant Girl. That's called the Pageant Girl Weekender. Is that right?
Yeah, because they'll be
Yeah.
crowning a
Miss
pageant,
Pageant
girl, and then a pageant girl, teen, and miss, and then the following day is international UK.
International UK. Okay, right. So that is going ahead at the moment.
If
And-
anybody knows anything more, pop it in the comments, please.
Yeah, Holly.
I feel like a list needs to be wrote out of every pageant and with a date, or whether it's cancelled or whether it's to be announced or something.
Well, this is one thing that that I want to do is actually, when we have the new site up, is put a calendar up there, collaborative
I think that'd be
calendar.
very
That'd be really
beneficial.
good.
I think it should be like an international calendar as well. So even when it's little pageants out in the States, or little heat,
Yeah, that'd be
even
good.
like
I
the
love watching-
qualifying. Yeah, I love watching ones
Miss
from other
Texas
countries.
USA. Like
Yeah.
I love watching
Oh,
the
yeah,
USA heat.
Texas. Oh my goodness.
That's a
They're
really
amazing.
good one to watch. The gowns are always spectacular. They're always like Miss Universe quality gowns at that one at Miss Texas
And
USA.
every time Universe and USA happens, I'm like, let me organise a group chat and we'll all tell our favourites in it.
What do you guys watch it on? Is it a Facebook Live?
It's
I
wherever.
stream it like
Don't
a
they?
stream
YouTube or
on a
something.
Fox.
Yeah.
A Fox stream usually for USA and Universe, because we don't have it in the
Oh,
UK.
wow.
It's on Fox
Right.
TV out in America, so you can find like an illegal stream of it.
It's legal. It's legal.
It's
Twitter.
legal.
Please don't come for me.
someone's filming it on their phone, and you can
Yeah.
find it on Facebook if you just type in the live section Miss
Right.
USA.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
usually
I find
you'll
them
someone
find a
really
link.
knows
bad. I watch
someone.
the same Fox. I have it saved on my computer, ready again for the year after, because it's always on Fox.
Good quality.
Okay.
As an actual like TV, like their mainstream TV, they broadcast it.
Yeah, they have it on mainstream TV in America.
Happened in Australia. Wow. Gee. Okay. As I do more interviews in America, I think I'm going to find out a few surprises like that, because obviously the Americans take pageantry to a whole new level, and I do have a few interviews lined up with American queens, including Danielle's friend Marissa.
Looking forward to that.
Is Miss
Yeah.
World is Miss World America 2018. I didn't know she was lined up for another pageant. So now she's lined up for Miss Maine Earth, Maine being like Maine lobster of the state. So Miss Maine Earth.
But she is Miss Maine.
I had a fangirl
so-
moment when
Yeah, sorry.
Danielle had her in the group chat.
Yeah.
Well,
so
that was
she,
another
We had a
drunk story,
FaceTime with her, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
yeah, I was like, she
Okay.
jumped on. Yeah, she's the current Miss Maine Earth, and she will be competing in Miss Earth, USA, America. I can't remember if it's United States or America or USA. I think it's USA actually. I think it's USA.
somewhere over there. I've had a brief look at her socials, and I can say that she does look very suited to Earth, given all the things that she's done, including tagging sharks on their
Yeah.
dolphins. This is one girl that's obviously not afraid of sharks.
Oh yeah.
I saw a video of her basically wrestling one into the shore, and then the shark is there, and you have to tag it in the dorsal fin. It's like, wow, okay.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
She's been doing that for years as well. Marissa's been doing that for over 5 years now. But I don't think she's working with the Oceanic Society anymore, but she does other things in the San Diego area. She does a lot of beach cleanups. And I've been saying to her for the longest time, you are literally perfect for this pageant. I was saying to her years ago, you're perfect for Miss World. You are perfect for Miss World. And then she went on to take the Sportswoman Award, which got her into a fast track. And then ever since then, I've been like, you are perfect for Earth. You are perfect for. So I'm constantly like, do another one, do another one. So when she messaged me being like, Danielle, I'm thinking about doing another one. I was like, please tell me it's Earth.
Yes.
So yeah, I was like, yeah, you're ready for this. It's in your blood.
Well, I will ask Marissa more about yourself, Danielle, when I interview her. Ariana, you have gone a bit on the dark side now, so I don't know if you want to turn your light closer or sort of fading to the background. Can't see you.
It's becoming dark, yeah.
Okay, give me a weather update. What's the weather like in the UK at the moment?
We had thunder and
sunny
lightning today.
Oh, you had thunder and
lightning.
Yeah,
it's nice
sunny.
Today.
It's been sunny down south.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I think it's a mixed bag all around the UK, to be fair.
Yeah, sounds about right. Ariana, yeah, that's better. Joe has said Intercontinental UK is September still. That's right. And then Louise, who is not as Louise, has said, watching Australia Love Island, there is a previous Miss Universe Australia in it. Which one is it?
What one?
No.
I'm not that up to date.
I haven't seen this one.
I feel like a lot of the Miss Universe Australian girls I feel like a lot of the Miss Universe Australian girls are either like married or engaged or like have long-standing boyfriends. I've noticed a trend.
Well, I guess if you're Miss Universe Australia, you're not going to have a problem getting a boyfriend, are you?
This is true.
We don't have to deal with whether they're quality boyfriends or not. That's a completely different matter. Yeah, Louise, if you're watching and let us know, although your daughter is Googling it as we speak. Danielle was talking about motivation during lockdown. That's interesting because I was just thinking about that in the shower. I've been struggling with motivation on and off probably ever since I got back from the UK. So in terms of motivation, just to make it a bit more serious than usual, does anyone have any tips on motivation? Well, not serious, but compared to some of our other anyway, I was preparing Ariana to come on here at the end of our interview before I hung up with her, and I was saying that you can't be afraid to speak over the other two, because when they cut loose, I can't control them, and I'll just sit here
they're
and
they're not too bad right now.
No, we're on best behaviour for you.
Oh.
Yeah, I had to give them a warning last time.
Well, she's quiet because she's Googling.
Yeah, I'm just going to answer the next question, which you said about motivation.
Lauren is now going to say what?
Oh, she's like, what's happening? What's the answer?
And there is proof that girls can't multitask either. Guess what?
Don't be so rude.
You're cruising for a bruising, Adrian.
That's why I'm in Australia, not Wales.
I'm so confused, right? Because every time I type in 2020 Love Island Australia cast, it's coming up with last year's. So maybe they've just got the same cast as last year, because it's Taylor Demir that was the Miss Universe Australia finalist.
Oh, she's probably a finalist. I don't. They always do that though, don't they? When anyone's like a pageant
Is it a repeat then?
It's on now, isn't it? Yeah.
Whenever someone's like competed in a pageant, they always go and say that they'd won it, that they were the winner.
Her name is Taylor.
Taylor. No, she's not.
Lauren, your mum has put that she's Taylor. They do that a lot.
Australia.
So it's not even a new series. It's the first series, and they're just repeating it.
They did that with the guy on Big Brother. When a guy went on, they said it was this guy that went into Big Brother. They was like, oh, he's Mr. Island, but he wasn't Mr. Island. He was Mr. Island's first runner-up.
Contestant.
But they were just, they were just like, oh, he's Mr. Island, but he wasn't.
Joanna's up to date, so there you go. Yeah, it's not a new one, just showing last year's on UK telly. They do that in Australia as well, Danielle. They often, and the girls play into it as well, which is what annoys me more, because they know that's not a title. Very often they go on and they say Miss Australia, or they even put it in their Instagram bio. It's like, you're not Miss Australia.
No, you can't do that.
First off, that's not a pageant, and secondly, you didn't win it. So don't say that you are Miss something when you're not. It's not.
At least say finalist.
It's like It's like when I was Miss Galaxy Wales and I had a girl on Instagram put in her bio that she was Miss Galaxy Wales, but then underneath it was like
The part of
finalist. And I'm
Wales.
like,
Oh,
okay. But it was in like the
Yeah.
name, and then underneath in the bio it was like finalist.
I saw that exact thing happen. I think it was very recently with one of the Miss Wales finalists, and I think she put Miss Wales 2020. Got really confused because like that hasn't happened yet. So have I missed something here?
yeah.
No.
Did everyone else pull
Maybe
out and
it's
you won
like
by default?
newer girls and they don't know the etiquette. Maybe you never know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I think there are some people that do know the etiquette that just don't give a damn
Take a chance
as well.
I don't even think
They're
it's
trying to
don't
speak
give
it
a
into
damn.
existence.
Oh, that's well and good, but you can't lie. I mean, that's like the
No,
story
yeah.
about the thing, winning the lotto, and you go around telling all your friends, "I won the lottery, I won the lottery," and then somehow you're going to speak it into existence. I mean, that's
I
taking
always
it.
get really like, especially with the press and stuff like that, because they don't understand like titles. So I was once addressed as Miss Wales in the press, and I was like, no, like I'm not Miss Wales. It was when I was Miss Grand Wales. So I was like, can you go ahead and like change that online
it.
so I don't want to get sued or anything like that. I was like, I'm definitely not Miss Wales. They're like, what's the difference? I'm like, think of it as football leagues.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good way of explaining it.
yeah.
I'm waiting for Lola
Back
to attack.
Your little cat
Oh,
to attack. Does she attack?
Yeah, the other time she bit
Oh, yeah.
Lauren's foot.
Oh,
Attack.
No.
Attack.
Oh,
Loves me today.
The one that confused me was Miss Wales because it was Miss Wales, but it's actually Miss World Wales, and then Miss England is Miss World England, and then is Miss Scotland Miss World Scotland?
No, it's Miss Scotland as well. Well, it is Miss Scotland. It goes
Yeah.
to Miss World Scotland, yes, but they
Okay.
don't put the world in there.
But it's how it used to be back in like the day. They were always just called like Miss Wales. It was never.
So the Miss World
Wales.
organisation, or the people that own Miss World, the Miss England entry into Miss World, they own the copyright for Miss England.
yeah.
You get what I mean? So, say for example, in Australia, if the Miss Universe Australia people bought the copyright for Miss Australia and copyrighted it, Miss Australia would be the whoever World or Universe, whoever bought it, then they would have the rights to use it as I am Miss Australia without having to use the.
That makes
the ending
sense.
part.
I'm now
Yeah.
wondering if anyone in Australia has actually copyrighted.
Yeah, I think there must be someone that has copyrighted Miss Australia. Like,
Well,
there has
what
to be.
used to be our power pageant, which was Australia's Teen Queen, Global, and Intercontinental, I believe. That used to be what we call the power pageant. I think that's undergone a change of leadership. It's never clear. They don't say on the site like who's taken over, which really annoys me. But they've called it Miss Australia pageants now. And they're saying that their winner is going to be Miss Australia. So I really hope that if they are going to call it that they have copyrighted it, because I really don't think you should be calling your winner Miss Australia unless, you really have
It is, yeah.
big one. It makes it sound very, very big. So I hope they've done their due diligence there. But I have no idea if they've taken it over because they haven't announced it.
Why do people do that? Why do people keep things so secret? I don't understand why.
I know.
Well, it makes me feel really uneasy. It's like you must be hiding something, because if I had taken over directorship of the pageant, I'd be shouting it from the rooftops like, this is exciting. So if you're hiding it, I'm like, what? Unless you're just like the most disorganized person on the face of the earth. But we're talking like 2 or 3 months. So
because they know that like, if it fails, this is the person that is to blame at the end of the day.
That's kind of speaking that into existence, isn't it? It's setting you up for failure.
It is.
You're not even going to announce who's the director.
But then there's people that don't believe in their own abilities. Basically, if you're not ready to announce that you are a director of a pageant, then you don't believe in your abilities as a director.
Unless they're still like getting the fine print sorted, and they can't announce it until the fine print and everything's transferred over. I'm like trying to see it from a business point of view. Is you can't put your name to something if you don't fully own it
I
yet.
think, but as soon as you have the license, you bought the copyright, I think it should be transparent who the director is.
Well, put it this way: if you've got girls entering your pageant, I think you need to have disclose who
They
the
need to know who
director
they're talking to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Imagine you
the
just
girl,
rock up to a pageant that you've applied for online. You don't know who it is that's running it, and it's just like
It's
I'm
the
someone
pretty
same
that
sure
you
in
this
the
knew.
UK
girl,
though.
It's
No one wants
weird.
to own up to organising Miss Grand UK.
I was
It's the
going to
same
say that
here.
one.
That's I
Yeah,
They
was
don't
that's
want to
gonna
a
publicly
actually.
out themselves for taking over it and it potentially being an absolute mess.
Miss Grand is the one that
I don't know who
I'm not
that
going to say
is.
I understand. I sympathise with, because whoever bought Miss Grand UK has some explaining to do. And I think at the moment they're just hiding. I hope not, but there was a very obvious reason why Holly gave that system away or was forced to. So I think anyone who's taken it on has some explaining to do. But I'll leave that at that until we actually know. I mean, God knows when they go. When is Grand? Is Grand
Whenever it is.
2020 happening? That's supposed to be in Venezuela again, right?
I
Yeah,
don't
it's
reckon. I
happening.
don't think it'll
Yeah.
be cancelled. It
Chap-
won't be cancelled.
To be fair,
no,
they've
I
had it in
don't
Venezuela.
care.
It's not going to be cancelled.
Yeah.
They could have people firing. Oh, I shouldn't really say too much on this.
Oh yeah.
They do what they want.
in a war zone during a pandemic. Stop the war
I mean,
violence.
I've been keeping up to date with the
I know
pandemic.
that
news.
Miss Grand UK though are appealing for judges to judge their online pageant to send girls to the
They're asking
final.
for judges.
Yeah, messaging people to judge for them, but most people have just turned it down.
It just seems a bit
This is why
weird,
you need to
but
disclose. You need to disclose and
Yeah.
be honest and upfront. I have no problems with your motivations if you're transparent about them.
I think then people feel more confident in it. Otherwise, they don't know who they're talking to, and it
But
just
I
seems
think
a bit
it shows that when
sketchy.
Yeah.
one of the most respected directors in the UK gives up a pageant,
Yeah.
no one's going to want to touch it. I think that really shows. There is
Yeah.
a reason why it was given up, and now that it's been
I think
picked
that's
up
the
again
thing.
by someone
Got to
else,
look
it's-
into it.
Why would you want to take on a pageant that's going to send their girls to a place where the UK government doesn't recommend going?
Yeah, that's another thing.
Like,
Yeah.
why would you do that?
Safety.
I
Why
can
would you,
give
for your own
possible
personal
reasons.
glory or for your
But
own?
the reasons are not ones that I think I would like. Obviously, whoever's done it has different like beliefs and values to what I do. I can understand why they would do it, but I don't agree with it. Is what I'm saying. But the issue that I have, aside from everything else that we already discussed, which I agree with, is the pandemic is only just now starting to kick off really badly in the developing countries, such as Brazil. And I think I told Ariana this. I've told someone this. There's this image that still haunts me of people digging a rut, like a long trench, and it's just filled with unmarked graves. It's just like coffins. So even though in Australia we're almost getting back to normal, touch wood, UK obviously is rolling back some of its restrictions. The US is doing the same. But in the developing countries, it's only just now starting to kick off, and they're now reaching peaks with their daily death rates and things like that. So I would not be sending pageant girls to Venezuela, A, for the civil war, but B, with this pandemic kicking off. But I haven't heard anything about Grand. So when is Grand International supposed to be happening?
It's usually held end of October.
October.
Usually. So it's usually around about the 25th, 26th, 27th, around that time.
And does anyone know when
Yeah.
Grand UK is supposed to happen, or they're just doing an online?
I don't think
online-
they've
It's an
said.
online contest.
They haven't said
Okay,
just
That's very-
online.
online for something as big as Grand seems a little
Yeah.
unfortunate to me, given how big of a spectacle it's supposed to be. Grand always brings a spectacle, if
And
nothing
I
else.
think because the sponsored post is going out on Facebook, I mean, it popped up on my Facebook. It's a sponsored post appealing for girls to enter. It's the Survey Monkey entry.
Oh, God.
And
I'm just going
it's-
to close the window because there's a barking dog.
Yeah. Good, Daniel. You mean a sponsored post as in they're paid advertising?
Yeah, they're paying for advertisement on Facebook as sponsored posts.
Right.
And the girls that I've gone through, because it popped up on mine, the people that commented on it are like models or people that want to become
Mhm.
models, and you've
Mhm.
really got to be careful when that happens because they don't know what they're getting into.
Well, I have first-hand experience with that. I was with a pageant over here doing some interviews, and what they basically seemed to do, I have strong reason to believe this, because all the 80% of the girls who entered this pageant were from the same modeling agency and had zero pageant experience. So I was interviewing them, and literally 80% of them were saying, I don't know what a pageant is. I was approached by the director, which is fine because you need to enter somehow, but they didn't properly vet the girls for would they have any interest in pageantry. So basically they came, they did 1 year, and then they disappeared because modeling and pageantry are completely different. I mean, there's some commonality, but and those girls didn't interview well. When you ask them about their advocacy, they don't have one because they didn't know they had to have one. So it sounds like maybe Grand UK, I mean, speculation here to be clear, but it's doing the same thing, which to get numbers up, I understand, but as we already discussed, I think we need some disclosure as to who's taken it over and why. My biggest concern, as I've said before, is that newbies to the pageant industry, if the first one they go into is Grand UK, and then there's a bit of a ruckus about someone taking over Grand UK, which I think there will be, those newbies are going to get caught in the crossfire and they'll have no idea.
Yeah.
Because how would you? Like, you enter an online pageant with a chance to go overseas. Sounds really, really good. You look at the pictures of Grand, as I said, Grand always has the spectacle. And then you enter it and you're really excited. And then suddenly everyone in pageant world is sort of giving you the cold shoulder because you've unwittingly entered a pageant. But
also, for anyone, regardless if they're a model or a pageant girl, anyone in their right mind in the UK, if they're looking to travel overseas via a pageant, I'm sorry, but you're not going to want to go to Venezuela. And I think Joe Blogs on the street will know that. So
I hope so.
Anyone with a fair amount of brain cells will know you don't want to go to Venezuela.
Well, I mean, it's all over the websites and stuff anyway, isn't it, about travelling?
But I mean, the thing is, though, they're using the fact that their motto is "Stop the War and Violence" as an excuse to say, yeah, go to Venezuela. Our motto is "Stop the War and Violence," and this is what we aim to do: is take you to countries that are war zones and show how beauty pageants can change that.
That's crazy.
War zone.
So, oh dear.
I understand.
I've seen one of the messages that the Miss Grand UK are sending out to girls, and it's like Miss Grand's motto is "Stop the War and Violence," and this is why we believe that going to Venezuela is going to help bring money and tourism into the country, which ultimately will make the country much more safer.
No,
that's an angle, isn't it?
I disagree very, very strongly with that. I think that is a sales message to the extreme. I don't see the point of sending, you're not even talking about sending your queen. You're talking about holding the competition in a country that's in civil war and that somehow is going to stop people from killing each other. Where's the rationale behind that? That's I can't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have your mission as being stop the war on violence, but you can advocate on that from anywhere. You don't need to be in the country to advocate for just, I don't know, it beggars belief sometimes. But again, we've got to be careful because the girls have to be careful and you have to do your research. I put up a post about Europe Continental, and Europe Continental started looking at all my stories. So I blocked them. ARYANA, if you don't know, Europe Continental was the one that last year basically was a massive scandal. There was a pageant girl's mum was hit, physically struck. A lot of the girls were basically said they starved and showed photos of their accommodations. Apparently they want to take legal action against some of the people who've been defaming them, but they can't even get the English right in their legal notices. So it's literally a farce. But they started looking at my stories. I don't know why. So I was just like, block. I don't want anything to do with you and your... So if you are being approached by Europe Continental, do your research. I'm not going to say don't go because that's not my place to say, but do your research because I know they've reached out to a lot of people. I think, Lauren, have they reached out to you? They reached out to you. Danielle, they didn't reach out to you though, did they?
I think a long time ago they did.
Okay, all right.
No, not recently, thank God.
I had Miss Global and Miss Eco, whatever it was called.
There's so many, aren't there?
There's so many now, yeah.
There was Eco, there was Europe Continental, there was Global. I'm okay, thanks. Like, I'm sticking with Miss Wales. Like,
I just find it worrying how Europe Continental they've had so many aliases online as well. They've used so many people's names and profiles and accounts to message girls, and it's all ultimately for the same pageant, which
They
is
also
scary.
thought by
It's
talking
worrying.
badly about Miss World that it was going to make me want to leave and enter their
Oh
pageant.
yeah,
That's
I
a
was
good way
like,
to
what?
go.
They were
Yeah,
like,
no.
we are going to be just as big as Miss World, if not bigger. I'm like,
Do you know what?
okay.
It's actually really shocking how many people do message. Like, I'll get messages
Yeah.
from, I'm talking like made up pageants, I think, that they'll message you and say, oh, you do this, especially like some of the Asian ones that I've seen. And you just think they just want to make money for like this one day.
It's all
And
about
I'll be
numbers
honest, I
and how
looked
many
into
girls they
Grand.
can get in the pageant.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I looked into Grand and I spoke to Holly about it, and there's a lot going on, like even like with the like head, stuff. I won't even go into it on here, but there's so much going on that it's almost not worth it. And especially if someone as reputable as Holly, doesn't want it. You have to think about these things, and girls need to be careful. A lot of sharks out there, ladies.
yeah.
Well, this
Yeah,
is
the pageant world can be a scary place. You've just got to know how to navigate your way through it. Definitely.
Yeah. And I think if
the thing
everyone's
you
got
don't know
got friends, then you trust everyone. But then I feel worried more for the newbies that come in, and
I
they
think
have
it's
no
always
idea.
good to find someone that did the pageant before, whether it was the Queen the year before or a girl that
Yes.
competed the year before, and reach out to that person, be like, what was your experience like with this pageant before taking the full leap into something?
Yeah.
And that's always a good thing.
I
And
mean,
that's
I
why
can honestly say, like, hand on heart, I had an amazing time at Grand. Like, I could not fault it. I was in an amazing hotel, 5-star. I was fed. Maybe the first week the food wasn't very good, but that was the sponsor's fault. And then Mr. Nawat fired the sponsor, and then every single night we had a lovely buffet. I couldn't fault it.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
experience at Grand International was incredible, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
if
you
I
both
could
did
go
the
back,
same title.
yeah, if I could go back and do it all over again, absolutely I would, because I had the time of my life when I was out there.
It
But
looks phenomenal on on
Yeah,
streams.
I just
and
don't
everything.
agree
It's
with where they're
crazy.
hosting it and
Yeah.
what they've gone into. Like, it seems a bit thingy, the fact that it was in Venezuela. Venezuela won, and from watching it, there were girls on that stage that were incredible. It just all, I don't know. I just wouldn't be going to Venezuela. It's not somewhere I want to go.
Sorry, guys,
Yeah.
I have to get my charger. I'm really sorry. But carry on.
Only grab it.
Sure, go for it.
Yeah,
I just
just
find
be
it funny
careful
how
if
they've
anyone's
only.
messaging you.
I find it funny how also Grand have only crowned one queen outside of South America.
Well, those
Ariska was
issues to me
like
are
Caribbean.
secondary, because you got
So
like, if let's say the food was a bit dodgy for the first week, etc., that's something that you can tolerate. Okay, it's not great, but you're safe. Versus sending young girls into a war zone where literally you're endangering their, like, you can't tell me there's the same risk to the girl's life if they held the pageant in US or Australia or UK versus sending them to Venezuela. And if you're going to tell me that the reason we're sending them to the war zone is to stop the war and violence, I think you need to tell me, how is that going to happen? Like, if anyone can answer this, have a go. Can anyone tell me how holding a beauty pageant in Venezuela is going to stop the civil war? Because
it's not.
I
There's a difference. I mean, back in my day of Grand, we had to sign a release form to say if we won, we'd be happy to go to a war zone. So, but
Right.
that was to go on a mission project where you basically go and take aid to a refugee camp, which is completely different. So you're going there with aid, helping, doing what you can. That is very different in holding a beauty pageant in a place that's going through a civil war.
But let's be real now with Miss Grand, and this is something that since probably my year. So I obviously know Maria did the queen that handed over my year when I went. She did like a little bit of work, not much, but a little bit of work in these countries, in these third world countries that needed aid. Then we look at the queen that was crowned after that. Nothing was done. She did no work. She did no advocacies for Stop the War and Violence. It was more travelling around and attending pageants. I would rather see her get involved, especially when you've got her fat shaming Catriona Gray, calling her Miss Piggy, who was actually out there and did a lot of work. She built, you know, when as Miss World and everything else, when she was Miss World Philippines, she was building schools, she was helping people, she was working really hard with the Miss Universe organisation. But to use the fact that your advocacy is Stop the War and Violence, but not doing any work behind that in countries that do need you to go out there and give them aid and stuff like that, I kind of find it hard to believe that you're still promoting that advocacy and using that as a reason for why you're holding your pageant in Venezuela.
That to me is, it's like it's a result of, because it's not just Grand, to be fair. If you look at not a lot, but you look at some girls entering in pageants, they will tell you that they are super passionate about their advocacy, which is X, right? And during the lead up to the pageant, it's all about this advocacy. And then if they don't win, or in some cases, as Lauren said, even if they do win, suddenly you don't see a single post about that advocacy ever again. In fact, sometimes if they don't win, you never see a post about the pageant ever again.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes better to not.
Bikini photo.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes better to not have an advocacy and forcing one than forcing one that you're not passionate about. Do you know what I mean? So I never say that I have a singular advocacy, and I don't always promote that you must have one thing. Yeah, you can really focus on it, and you can really make a difference in that area, and it's good to have some groundwork there to talk about. But sometimes forcing an advocacy and saying, look, I believe in this, when you don't actually feel so passionate about it, you're just doing it for the pageant, which is fine if you're making a difference, but find something that you actually really care about and you're really passionate about, and it's something that you're going to take throughout your life, not just in pageantry. That's why I always say, me personally, there's not one thing, there's multiple things that I put my heart to, because I know that even once I'm done with pageantry, I'm still going to be doing that.
Yeah.
I'm authentic.
I also see, like, there's no harm in saying I want to win this pageant because I want to win this pageant.
Yeah.
What's wrong with wanting to win the pageant? And that's why we all compete. We all ultimately want to win. If you have a platform or an advocacy bonus, like, you can promote that too. But what is wrong for just wanting to be Miss Galaxy Wales because you want to represent Wales at Galaxy Internationals? Yes, you may not. I didn't have an advocacy when I competed in Galaxy. I wanted to win because I wanted to go to Galaxy, and I wanted that was what I wanted to do at that point in my life. What's wrong with saying that? I feel like people constantly get shamed because they don't have an advocacy.
Yeah,
I was going to say
it's great to have one. You go and do that. You do you. But what's wrong with just wanting to win because you want to go to Galaxy International, or you want to go to Miss Universe Great Britain?
Ariana, Ariana, I think your audio has died on us. We can't hear you. It's gone really, really quiet.
Oh no, I heard her. I
just
can hear
Ariana. Yeah, that's better.
I can hear you.
Okay, I think I have my finger over it. Sorry. Like you said, as long as it's purposeful and like means something to you, you know, not just
Hannah. Yeah. So Hannah has said there's always don't need a platform because a platform needs passion. If you force it, the judges will see as well. I think it comes across on social media very clearly as well, when you're just suddenly out of the blue, suddenly you're passionate about the oceans, and then 2 months later, when you haven't won that pageant, you enter up, suddenly I'm advocating, I'm passionate about something. It's like, are you passionate about everything, or are you just passionate about nothing? Because I can't tell. But Danielle, what were you going to say?
My pet peeve in pageantry is that people are doing it. The reason why they do pageantry is, they do it to get into the community and do charity work. I mean, you can do that without doing a pageant. People don't, you can just, go and volunteer your time and not do a pageant. Like,
the reason I do pageants is because I just love competing and getting to know people. And then now that I've gone to Miss World, Miss Wales, it's a bonus that I now get to be involved so much, and it gives you kind of that drive and push to be involved. But when I first started pageants, my mindset was completely different. I was like, oh my God, I want the glitz and glamour of getting up on stage and being in a nice dress. And, it was like that adrenaline rush that I got from pageants. I do think, though, like, you do develop throughout the years of why you want to do it.
Yeah.
But ultimately we all want to wear a nice dress and be on stage and meet people from all over.
Yeah.
I don't see why saying that you are entering the pageant because you want to win is such a, it's kind of looked down on. As you said, it's kind of
What?
shamed. It's like if you say that, yeah, I'm in it to win it, people are like, oh, you're one of those. I'm like, I mean, I don't go into anything to lose. Let's put it. And I don't think anyone
Yeah.
goes into anything to
You
lose.
wouldn't go play a football game just to lose, would you? Be
I
like, oh, I
I
just want to
do
kick a ball
think,
about.
though,
No, you're going to like win a game.
yeah, there is like, so like for me, I do pageantries and I go at it full force. Like I don't half-heart anything. I'm like, if I'm in it to win it. And,
Yeah.
you know, I will work my butt off to get there. But then some people are like, that's cocky though to say that. And I'm like, but it isn't.
I think it's a
because if I'm
British
working
thing.
hard,
No.
cocky would be just showing up thinking you're going to win and you've not done all the hard work that
Which is
goes
not what
into
we're
it.
talking
That
about.
would be
That's very
cocky.
different.
But going there, knowing that you're prepared and knowing that you've done everything you possibly could and that you're in it to win it and you've done all the legwork behind everything and you're going in there now, like, I don't see that as cocky. I see that as being prepared, being confident in the performance that you've given in the run-up, and knowing that you've worked your butt off to get to where you are. It's not cocky. It's just being comfortable and knowing that you've done everything you possibly could.
Exactly, and that's why sometimes there's more than one person that could be a winner because they've all worked hard. It's just whether it's their time, as everyone says.
Yeah, and you're not taking it away from anyone else by saying, you know, I'm in it to win it, because they could be in it to win it as well. Like,
I've done this before.
Really,
I've done this before where I've been competing against people and they've gone, or the people that I've competed against have gone, you're going to win. I'm like, babes, don't ever say that to me. You need to be like, not saying it to me that you're going to win, but like in your mind, be like, you're going to win, because at the end of the day, you're handing me the crown, and vice versa. Why would I ever turn around and say to someone that I'm competing against, oh, it's fine, you're going to win? Because you're literally handing them their crown. There you go, take it, because you've given up already.
You
I
have
can
to believe in yourself. Why would you do a pageant if you didn't believe in yourself?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think, okay, so there is this big group. I don't know if it's a UK thing. I definitely have identified the same thing in Australia, but there is definitely a group of girls who honestly go into pageantry to build self-confidence, or to meet other women. When they go in that first time, at least, they certainly aren't even thinking of winning. They're going in there to build themselves up and have some sort of self-development. And it's that cliche, but it's true. It's the journey. It's not the end goal, which I completely understand. So people who say that, like, if you don't want to win it, you don't enter it, it's not strictly true. But I do think that if you stay in it longer, then you're going to want to improve and at least give your very best, even if you think you have no shot of winning. Let's say a really, really huge pageant and you go, I've got no shot of winning, but I'm going to give it my best. It's basically the same thing. We're all trying to strive for the best.
But still, you wouldn't turn around and say to the person, oh, you're going to win it.
No,
you've got to back yourself. Doesn't matter what, like, don't let your insecurities show. You've got
to
back yourself.
It depends what their reason is, though. If they're doing it to just gain confidence and they really believe that girl has worked hard and she's truly ready to win and she deserves it, then like, if I was competing and just doing it for confidence and I saw someone like you, Danielle, if I was competing against you and I was just doing it for fun, I saw how much hard work you put into Galaxy, I'd be like, you're going to win and you deserve to win. Like, I would say it.
Yeah, you'd
because I've done
it
it just for fun, but you've done it because you want to win. Like, so I would just literally be like, you know, you're going to win.
And then you've got to be like, those girls have to be happy for those girls, you know, not bitter. That's where it comes in.
Don't be bitter, get better.
Yeah, good motto.
But I find that a lot of the time it's obviously the newbies that come into it and they get intimidated by the girls that have been doing it, done a few pageants before, and I've overheard conversations where, you know, newbies are kind of, you know, they're reclusing into themselves and then they're picking who they're going to win. It's fine, I know I haven't got a chance. And it's just like, that boils my blood, because you have just as strong a chance as any girl in that competition. And saying that before you've even stepped on the stage, I'm like, girl, sometimes I just want to like shake people. But and like,
this is where I see it as my
just
duty.
As good as chance.
Yeah,
you
as
have
someone
just
that's
as good
been
as
in
chance.
Yeah, as someone that's been in pageantry for quite a while now, well, not a while, but since like 2016, so 4 years, I entered Miss Wales knowing that there's going to be girls in there that have never done a pageant before, because Miss Wales does attract newbies. It really does. And for me, I want to build pageantry up. I want everyone to go into that finals of Miss Wales feeling so comfortable. So in our group chat, I shared the link to the advice group. I'm like, everything is in there. You can literally just search it and you'll find things. If you don't find it, post it and people will be happy to answer. And then girls wanted to have phone calls with me to go through things. And I'm like, yeah, that's no problem. At the end of the day, like, I want to help people because I want to build pageantry up. And I think that is what it's all about. And although, like, I'm confident in my performance I'm going to give, I also want the girls to go on stage feeling their best selves. I honestly, that's all I want for them all, because I know that they're all new to this. I even like recommended people to train with. I'm like, here's a list of people to train with. A lot of them booked in with Chloe, my best friend. I'm like, yeah, go and see Chloe, like, she's amazing for interview training. So like, that's just how I am. I always want more
It's
girls
being
to be
helpful
involved.
and
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh
And
yeah,
giving
that's
the right
fine.
view of
Oh
things,
yeah,
'cause I think
absolutely.
some
Help
people can
everyone.
have such
Yeah.
a different view, and you want to help them and say, this is what it's really about. It's not like this.
Well,
Does that
what
make
grinds
sense?
my gears is people have a defeatist attitude before they've even
Yeah.
stepped on the stage. And
Yeah.
so that's what I don't like, and that makes me really upset, because I've heard, like, I've been backstage and stuff and I've listened to conversations and people be like, oh, she's got that, so she's going to win, and that just really upsets me.
Yeah.
I will help anyone. You know me. You know I'll help anyone. But
Mm.
what upsets me is that people have handed someone else the crown on a platter. There you go, take it, because I've got a defeatist attitude, isn't it? What I'm saying to people is, you got to back yourself, regardless if you're new, you've been doing it for 10 years. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're doing this pageant, you have got to back yourself, because there's a lot of people behind you. You've probably got your friends and family in the audience. You can't step up on that stage and not feel the best version of yourself. You've got to get up there and give it everything. You've got to have a little bit of fight in you.
There's, again,
and at least believe that you can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if
I
this is
think
a
that
UK thing.
does grow in time, absolutely. But it's one of those things that I wish I could just inject self-belief into everyone.
I think it comes with experience, and some people are blessed with more self-belief and confidence than others, but it's definitely something that you can work on. I think what you're talking about, Danielle, is, to simplify it, I think it's people giving themselves an excuse before they've even competed. Because if you say that I don't really want to win, when you do, and you're saying I don't really want to win, then if you don't win, it doesn't hurt as bad. But if you tell everyone that I'm in it to win it, and I'm doing my best, and my goal is that crown, and I won't be satisfied with anything less. Yes, I get the journey, etc., but I want the crown, and then you don't win, then you set yourself up for a whole nother level of not only pain, but because people now have said you said you wanted to win and you didn't, so gee, must suck for you. And I think that's a really, really big issue, particularly I'll say it for girls, because very often girls are told you shouldn't be competitive because it's seen as a bad thing. Girls are supposed to be nice, and I hate that word nice, because basically it means you do what everyone else wants. It's being weak, it's not being nice. So I think there's an issue with when a girl comes out and is super competitive, and I see it in tennis because that's what I know. I don't know if you guys know, but Sharapova, for example, she's fiercely competitive. And a lot of the other players hate it because when she goes in the locker room, she's not going to be your best friend. She says, I'm not here to be your friend. I don't have time to make friends. She's in it to win it. So that when she fails, everyone loves it because now everyone can jump on her case and beat her down. But she doesn't give a crap. And I think that's the mindset you need to have.
Yeah, I think
the thing is, though, I'm
kind
fiercely
way,
competitive, and I said openly on my interview with Paula, the one thing that scares me is disappointing others by not doing as well as I should. And I've learned now I need to get out of that mindset, because it's not about disappointing others, because they're not going to be my mum's not going to be disappointed with me if I don't win. My mum will just be glad that I went there and I put my all into it. But for me, it's like that self-fear that I've done so well previously, and if I don't win, I'm now a failure. But it's not that, and it's kind of having to change the mindset. Although I'm in it to win it, I also have to understand that there's a bunch of other girls that are competing that are absolutely amazing and would do amazing at Miss World. So it's kind of having to change all your mindset within pageantry.
Yeah.
And because I played tennis as well, I think it was like one person loses, one person wins, and I was competitive when I was playing tennis too.
So you can understand that. You see, I would never go. You'd never go to a tennis tournament and say, "I'm not going to win. You're going to win." Okay? Although, having said that, when I was coaching, some girls would do that because I was coaching at a girls' school. Not that I'm picking on the girls. And I'd be like, "What's the point of going to compete and you're just going to take up space?" I mean, like, at least give it your best. Push yourself to give yourself some chance. Like, even if it's a 1% chance, own that 1% and go for it. Otherwise, what's the bloody point? Why am I coaching you and putting all my heart and soul and effort into that if you're just going to, I can't win. I'm not.
I think there's a good quote that's like, train like you've never won. This is definitely my approach to Galaxy, because it was actually my approach to Galaxy. Train like you've never won and perform like you've never lost.
I've seen that one. I like that one too.
And for me, because I feel like the build up to any of pageant or game, football match, tennis match, whatever it is, whatever competitive thing you're doing, you have to put the training in. You have to put the legwork in.
You can't rely on previous wins to get you.
No, absolutely not. You have to train like you've never won. Train like you've never won, so you're still hungry for it. And then when you get on that stage, you perform like you've never lost, because you've won in your heart.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Let's go through some of the comments, guys, because there's a bunch here. So I'll flip this one from Hannah. Hannah said, I think it comes down to honesty. I mean, it normally does with everything. If you say you have a platform, but only saying that because you don't want to say the real reason, it's just as bad. Of course, we all want to win. Otherwise, we want to have spent the monies. I could have a house by now. I think Danielle echoes that.
I feel your pain on that, Hannah. We've been in the game way too long.
I was also going to say, if you really want, if your goal is to give back to the community and like do community work, just go do it. Like, you could do more by just doing that, because pageantry takes up your time. Just go and do the community work.
Do it anyway.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Jo, being the competitive psycho that she is, that everyone should be in it doing it. I'm not saying that everyone should be in to win it, but I think you've got to be honest with yourself. Like, if you want to win, say you want to win. Don't say you don't want to win because you're afraid to lose. That's a distinction.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I said, apart from when you were holding hands with the first runner-up and don't say you're going to win, no, you're going to win. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I do sometimes wonder what the conversation is when there's only two left and they're talking to each other, and I'm like, I wonder what they're saying to each other. You're going to win. No, you're going to win.
Good luck.
I think when I was standing with Gemma Cox at Miss Galaxy Wales, I don't think we spoke, because we were just in complete like, what is going on? Like, oh my god, one of us is one.
Danielle, do you remember what you were saying to Claire when it was left like you two?
I mean, I felt like I was going to pass out in that moment, and Claire did say, "You've got this, babe. You've got this, babe." And I was going, "No, I haven't. No, I haven't." And then I was just like, "I haven't got this until they announce the result." If you get what I mean. So in my head, I was like, "No. There wasn't a point where I ever believed that I actually had it until my name was called out." There should never be a point where you think that you've got it until.
That's a cockiness, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
so that's why I think that's why you see me on stage. I'm going, no. So it looks like I'm being like quite aggressive towards her, because I'm like, no, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. But she was actually being very sweet, being like, come on, you've got this, and like, fair dues to Claire. And I was just like, imagine if they turned around and said my name and not yours. She would have been like, yeah.
There was a funny moment at Galaxy, and I think it was Sarah Pritchard and Deanna holding hands, and it was the year Sarah won. And Maria, they were both talking to each other, and it was like, I remember watching the video of it on stage, and Maria was like, what are they saying to each other? So she actually went up to them and were like, what are you two saying? She's like, I was just saying how squishy her bum was, because they were holding each other's bum. Oh my god, that was funny. I've just seen a huge centipede on my curtain.
Oh my god, a centipede!
They're poisonous out in Thailand. You know that. It hasn't snuck in through your bag and been living in your house.
What are you gonna do? Free range.
Oh my god, I'm not even joking. It's huge. Huh?
What?
Centipede.
I feel like I
So
need to
they'll,
see
they'll
it.
bite them and play with them.
I don't know if it's a centipede. It's something though. Wait, how do I
Have to
turn
show
my
us
sound?
it.
Snake.
I don't know if you
Wait, I
can while
don't think
you're
I-
on the call.
Hang on. Oh my goodness.
Ooh,
That
It's not
is
as
a
big as I
centipede.
thought it was, though.
quite fast.
I'm
Laura.
scared.
Better start running away
Yeah,
now.
you need to get it in a cup. Get in a glass.
How am I going to get
Release
it out?
it.
You want to take care of that whilst we continue?
Cool, Sarah.
Yeah, cool. I'll be back on in a minute.
Cheers, whilst Lauren is. All right, that gives us a chance to go through.
see
I was
it.
actually going to ask Ariana, your winning moment in Diamond, did they do the final two? Is it the same as that Galaxy where you're reduced to two? And
Yes, they did, and it was with Donna, who I felt quite bad because she'd competed a couple of years before, and I know, you know, when you know someone really wants it, and she knew the system really well, and I was new to the system. So when they did the first runner up, and that's how they did it, so I was in complete shock. So it was amazing, but we didn't really speak. I don't think. I think we just had a brief, you know, good luck, and that was it. But we both looked down, and we were just, you know, doing that look.
Yeah. I felt sick to my stomach at that point. And then there's a moment when I obviously I called and I like go down, and and Claire's just grabbed me, and like I've gone weak at my knees and dropped down. And then because I keep seeing loads of pictures of pageant girls when they drop to their knees, and I really don't like that squatty look picture. And I just thought to myself, no, you don't want to squat in picture like I'm doing something suspect on the stage. So I don't want to squat, but I felt my knees going, and I was like, oh, and then like I recovered myself, but because Claire was holding me and I was like going low, I like headbutted her in the chin. And then I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I literally just headbutted you in the chin. And so there's a moment where I'm grabbing her being like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I did not mean to headbutt your chin.
Is that why you grabbed her? Because I remember that moment you grabbing her. Is that? I thought it was something much sweeter than that. Not sorry, I headbutted you.
No, I literally I headbutted her in the chin because I felt myself going weak at the knees. I felt quite not faint because I'd eaten a lot that day, but I felt, you know, when just the emotions of everything. I've never been like holding hands with someone before. I've never had that moment ever, and so I was just a bit like, oh no, don't do Miss Grand and fall to the floor and pass out. Don't do the squat and drop picture. So, but I felt my knees going, and I was just like, no, don't do that. And no, it bang into her chin. So that's why I was like, that's why I like held her face. I was like, oh my god.
Have you guys heard? Just tell me, we won't discuss it. But have you heard the story behind the grand fainting?
I was there.
I was gonna say she was on stage. Well,
okay, you haven't heard
I was in the audience.
Yeah, you haven't heard the story. I'll tell you later because there's something that I can't disclose there. But it was the Australian contestant told me about that, and I'll fill you in afterwards.
I heard that there was a discussion beforehand.
Oh, I know the story. It was said in an interview.
They said don't drop to the floor. Don't faint.
Go into it.
The
Let's say
camera's not going to be
video.
on you, okay?
There's been a fair bit of video analysis also to corroborate what I was told.
When she like moves her leg over, like, oh, this is a prettier position.
Is the centipede situation taken care of?
Oh yes, centipede.
It's flushed down the toilet.
No! At least chuck it out a window.
Or it can be eaten by a bird.
Find its way back.
I thought you were going to release it.
You know they're aquatic. They can swim back up the toilet and bite you on the bum cheek.
Never going to the toilet ever again. I'll be using the one outside.
Literally coming right back to bite you in the...
More out there.
I've had things come up the drains here in Australia. It's one of the problems. Like leeches have come up out of the drain. So you're in the shower and then you see this thing go like this. And then you're naked as well in the shower. It's like you're very vulnerable. You can't exactly pick it up, run outside. So watch out because it might come up the, as we say, toilet snakes.
I'm never coming to Australia.
There was a situation when I
would
was
be too scared of the spiders.
There was a situation at Grand International. We was at this eco lodge, and this our apartments were built on a lake, so we were actually on water. So there was a lot of amphibian activity, and I was sharing a room with Miss Canada, and Miss Canada, and her first language, her mother tongue was French, and I speak minimal French, and she speaks okay English. So we were communicating okay at this point.
Mhm.
She goes to have a shower and she runs out naked, like starkers. And I'm like, what is going on? Screaming her head off. I'm like, what is going on? And then she was like, obviously speaking in French really, really quickly. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? What's going on? So I've walked into the bathroom, and like what you just showed us, a centipede, but it was like this big, and it was more kind of like solid. It was more like it had
A
armor
snake,
on.
then.
It was like a
basics,
snake with like
like a
thousands of
snake.
legs.
Basically a snake.
So she's going, and I've gone, oh, it's just a centipede. I'll like get it out. He's like, yeah, it's a big one, but I'll try and get it out. And then I thought, actually, no, I better not. Don't touch it, just in case. Called reception. I was like, hey, we've got a bug in our room. Can someone get it out? And they were like, yeah, this happens all the time. This maid has come in to come get it, and she's run out the room screaming. You know that if a Thai person is screaming at a Thai bug, it's going to be a bad bug. And we actually Googled it afterwards, and we actually had to have professionals come in and remove it because it was highly venomous. One sting from that thing, it could kill 8 people apparently. So I was just like, oh, I'm glad I didn't pick it up and remove it myself.
Oh my.
Lauren's never going to Thailand again either.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture of it.
No,
so
you
you can
got to,
avoid
because
it.
you're learning Thai.
I know.
And it was just in the bathroom.
I've seen centipedes like that here in Australia. They're centipedes, and then there are centipedes. And this one was flat. It was very flat, very solid. It looked like, I said to my brother, it looked like an armored tank. And the scary thing was they can run so quickly. I don't know if they have that many legs, but you actually, like, you can't walk away from it. If you're scared, you need to run because it will chase after you. I don't know what I think they're going to do, but they can move really quickly. So if you're scared of them, Lauren has just on UK.
And tell you what, Miss Canada had never seen
I'm
her
just
run so
scared of
fast.
bugs.
And I didn't really know her too well, and I've
Maybe
seen
we
her
should
starkers.
Stop bug chat.
This is always the most fun part. And any conversation that gets Lauren to shut up is always a fun one for me, Ariana. Okay, let's go through these comments. Yeah, Lauren. Okay, so let's run through these because we've been on like an hour and a quarter already. I didn't realize. Where
I'm
are
going
we
to Google
going?
that bug while you do that.
Yep, I'll go through the comments. When I first ever competed, Joe has said I competed to gain confidence, etc., but I still wanted to win. I think that's cool too. Obviously, Joe is highly competitive, as am I. Hannah has said, I say this with my clients, you have to have confidence in yourself and believe in you. Don't look at who has entered and who are the front runners, so hot picks in pageant parlance. We all deserve to win, and if you put the work in and done the best you could, that's all you can do. Yeah, absolutely. I really don't think it's so good to look at what the other girls are doing. I think you really just focus on doing you. I think it'd be very counterproductive, as you said.
And if you do find yourself getting like absorbed by the competition, like just mute them on social media so that they're not constantly popping up. I mean, it's not like you're doing it because you don't like him. It's just because you want to focus on yourself and just do what you're doing.
Yeah.
I know a lot of girls who will completely come off social during the actual pageant competing during those days, and I think it could be a very good idea. Caitlin Nash, I said, my first year was to gain experience in the industry, but I gained confidence in myself, and that's why I keep going back, and that confidence has helped me develop the belief in myself that I can go for that crown. But I also know it takes hard work and prep to get there. Yeah, absolutely. I think when you go in the first time versus when you go in maybe the second time, third time, 10th time, your motivations and probably your aspirations change. I think that makes complete sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Sophie has said the law of attraction is everything. If you don't believe you're going to win, then you won't. Absolutely. You've got to put in the hard work as well. I will say that. I think the danger with the law of attraction is that you think you can just attract a win. You need to go out and do the bloody hard work. Louise has said, I hate bugs with the caterpillar.
This is the one.
You hate bugs.
Kirsty has said the auto-generated captions just describe the bug as highly feminist.
It looks like a lobster, but not.
That's what was running around in the shower.
I'm itchy now.
They have them in,
getting a bit.
they have them in.
squirmy.
Lauren, I'm really sorry, but they do have them in Pattaya, so do look out for them if you're there.
Oh God.
What's the name of it?
Okay, I'm staying in the UK forever and ever. Never moving to Thailand.
Does it have a species there?
My check better be in the mail, Louise. It's called, I think it's called the Vietnamese
Oh, no.
centipede.
In
It's got a
Thailand.
lot. It's
Well,
got a
couldn't it go
long.
back to Vietnam, please?
It migrated. It walked. It swam across the ocean. It looks like it would cross anything.
Yeah.
Oh, it's huge. Look at
Danielle, stop looking at it now.
Yeah, enough now.
Please don't send me the
Yeah,
link.
okay, no more, no more.
I don't know if you guys have seen, but Kirsty has said the auto-generated captions just describe the bug as highly feminist. So some of the Facebook can do auto-generated captions, and I have to say the auto-generated captions, and you match it up with someone who speaks with a Scottish accent, are absolutely. Firstly, they're unintelligible, and secondly, they are hilarious. And I've also sent, as you guys have seen, I send clips of my interviews and podcasts. And I put clips up on Instagram and Facebook, and they've got captions underneath. Now, I used to do that myself. It takes too much time. I've sent it out to someone else to do it. Every time I send them a clip with like Olivia or Sophie speaking, it's like they've just died and given up. Honestly, they just put in brackets, like for a whole sentence, they just put in brackets mumbles.
No.
It wasn't mumbles. She was speaking completely clearly. You just can't understand what she was saying. But I do feel sorry when I say, because they're probably in America or like a third world country somewhere where they don't get paid a lot. And I've inflicted like a really.
Oh, he's frozen.
Oh, it's gone.
Oh, okay, I don't know what's happening with the internet. Can you hear me?
Can now.
Okay, all right. And Louise has said love you. I don't know if that's to Danielle or to Lauren. So.
It's to you, Adrian.
Very nice. Okay, I better get off this call then. Okay. In all seriousness, that has been almost an hour and a half already. That time absolutely flew by. So why don't you guys catch us up if you have any exciting plans coming up in the near future? So I'll start with you, Ariana. Any exciting plans coming up?
Just in general or pageant wise?
General.
Well, I'm still furloughed till the end of July at the moment, which could be extended to October, which is no fun. So no, I've co-written a book, and I'm doing lots of other bits radio wise. So that's it at the moment, really. Seeing what's happening.
That's a lot, though.
I was going to say lockdown. That's 10 times as much as most people. So
yes.
Danielle, Miss Latimer, what have you got coming up?
I'm getting back on the health wagon, so I'm going to be training a lot again this week and trying to get back onto the training. And then I do have a secret squirrel project that I'm working on, so I'll be working on that, and that is pageant related. And but it probably won't be. I mean, the chances of me being able to leak anything for the next few months, this probably is a process that's probably going to take possibly a year. So, secret squirrel.
That's exciting. Why is it secret squirrel? Is that just a Cockney thing, or is it?
It's not Cockney. That's just something that I've been working on that I'm not ready to talk about yet.
Is it to do with squirrels?
Oh, that's what I mean.
Yes,
I love squirrels.
It's actually to do with squirrels.
No.
I was going to say I can never know whether to take you seriously or not. I'm like, it can't be something to do with
pageant related and squirrels. Well, I'm going to run my own squirrel pageant.
I don't know.
God, that would be so much fun.
I'm going to make little crowns for squirrels.
Not squirrels, chipmunks. You have to do the chipmunks. Okay, that's exciting. Lauren, what have you got coming up?
Nothing, I don't think. Probably, well, yeah, nothing. Probably just sleeping, eating, going for my hourly walk. I do have homework though, because I had training on Monday, just gone. So I've got a couple of questions that need to be answered. It's all like interview prep. Just trying to stay in the zone, because I think it's so hard to think, I've got all this time off, and then you let slip. But who knows? Like Miss Wales could go, we can keep the original date. The government said it's all okay, and I know I'm going to be going in as prepared as I possibly can be. Or, you know, it gets to the end of August and they're like, oh yeah, we're having it next month. You've got a month to prepare. So I'm just trying to stay in the headspace that I'm in and just keep going, because there's no point in stopping now, is there, and letting go for a little bit and then having to pick it all back up when they decide there's going to be a date announced. You've really got to stay in it, really.
Stay in the zone.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember I wanted to discuss, have a bit of an ask you guys about motivation, and then we got sidetracked into pageants and bugs and all sorts of weird things. But can we wrap up on? Yeah, and I never got to finish it. I told you this happens, but can we wrap up on this? If you guys have any tips, because I think not only myself and you guys, but a lot of people are struggling with motivation right now. Like there's a couple of people who don't seem to be, and I don't know whether to believe them or whether to just hate them and be jealous of them. But do you guys have any tips for like motivation to get yourself going? Because I think at the moment it's really tough. Some days you feel really motivated, and then the next day you're like, I can't be bothered anymore.
So up and down, like in lockdown. I think for me, I'm like I do like going on like the long walks. I think that kind of resets you and you can kind of think about things and digest things quite a lot. I love listening to music and things, or I just did a meditation course actually. My friend's really into meditation and crystals and things, and she sent me this course and it was actually really, really good. So every morning I was listening to it, and it was it really opened my eyes to like relaxation and really like being like just there present. So I think that's quite helpful. But to like gear yourself up, but definitely eat healthy and make everything kind of in line with everything, if that makes sense, and kind of restart. And if you have a bad day, then just start the next day. I do like my binge days though, you know. Trash TV.
I think it's about
the other day.
Don't be too hard on yourself either. If you're having one of those days where you just don't feel motivated, don't and like keep that off going to the next day. You do have to realize like tomorrow's a new day, it's a fresh start. If tomorrow comes around and you're still not out of bed early and you're still not motivated again, okay, let's think of things we can do, change a habit, or I don't know.
I think my because I'm like that, I'll get into a funk. I mentioned this today in our group chat. I get myself into a funk, but what really starts all that off is my sleeping pattern. So I feel like if you get a good night's rest and make plans for the next day, and you do have something to look forward to or something to do the next day, really, really helps me. So that's something that it's always a continuing project that I have to work on with myself. I have a book on sleep here. And I find that if I read 30 minutes before I go to bed, if I set myself a strict time, I've even got it in my diary here that I don't know where my diary is. I've set myself the bedtime of no later than 11:30 now. Obviously, a lot of the time I'm going to deviate from that. So at the weekend, I might deviate from that, but I'm trying to get myself a bit of a routine. And that all for me starts with a good night's sleep.
Yeah,
I always found eating breakfast in the morning helps me like get ready for the day. And since I've not been eating breakfast in the morning, I have been eating at like 12 a.m. at night. No, 12 p.m. at night.
Right.
Wait, what time is it at the night time? 12 a.m. at night.
Midnight, 12 a.m.
And then I can't sleep then. Yeah. So I need to start waking up and eating breakfast and getting ready for the day instead of just laying in bed, because my mum babies me a lot. I'll admit this, I'm 25 and she still brings me coffee in bed every morning. But I think now,
I need one of those.
I know, slap me across the face for it. I think now I think I need to start getting up and meeting her downstairs for the coffee and then make myself breakfast is what I'm going to do tomorrow.
Louise, are you watching this?
Louise, no more coffee in bed for Lauren.
No more breakfast
I will
in bed.
just sit in bed, scrolling through TikTok, drinking my coffee, and I'll stay there till 11 o'clock then.
Just literally on your phone.
TikTok is the worst.
I don't know where it goes.
TikTok is the worst. I lose more hours on TikTok than
getting me some exercise.
No, I watch it and go, I can't. No, it's not doing that. Just quickly, do you guys make to-do lists or things like that, like goals or?
No.
Yeah,
I do.
Not every day though. Like some people do like a daily list, which I don't do.
Not every day. I go
I
through
do list like when I'm
phases.
going on holiday or if I'm going supermarket shopping. Like we went on Sunday
shopping
yesterday.
list.
We went super. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
like shopping. I don't do to-do lists though, but I do love going shopping and getting my list out. And I'm like, Mum, go and get some carrots. Right, I'm gonna cook all this week, so that's what I've done.
I just feel like I need to write a list because I have so many things buzzing around in my head. If I don't get them down onto a list, I just feel like my brain is going to explode. But I haven't quite worked out how to turn that list into reality. Like I've taken the list and done it. So what I've got right now is a giant list of to-dos. But it just says the list. I don't get them done. So that's the
notes on my phone.
I'm
Exactly.
yeah. So I've done the first part. Now tell me how to get them done. Danielle, you good?
Yeah, like I have my diary, and before lockdown would be like, hold on, like before lockdown it would be a lot more filled because I had, obviously in the run up to Galaxy, I had so many things to do. During lockdown, you'll find that there are some lists in here during lockdown. Basic things like wash your hair. Yeah,
That's what I need to do.
That's another thing that really helps you with motivation. If my hair's greasy or it's not good, that's how you know I'm in a bad way. If I haven't got out of my pajamas for 3 days and I've got really greasy hair and I probably haven't moisturized in 2 days, then you know I'm in a bad way. So it's just about, that's how you know that there's something wrong and I need to get my butt up earlier and just sort my life out.
So you see Danielle with dry skin, you know she's in a bad way.
Basically, yeah. And my skin's been really breaking out because I've had some bad anxiety this week and I keep scratching my forehead. This is like a habit that I have when I have anxiety. So I've broken out my forehead because I keep doing that. And that's going to be one thing that needs to go on my list to stop doing.
I have because obviously most guys won't have a makeup routine or something like that. Certainly not as complicated as most women, but I have heard that the equivalent for them is simply getting dressed. So not slumming, even if you are at home the whole day, not just slumming around all day in your track pants, pajamas, or whatever. It's actually getting dressed, like you're going somewhere.
Really
and it just
helps.
Trigger something in your brain that you go, oh, okay, we're actually going to do something today. We're not just going to slum it around in bed and pretend. And I have found that makes a big difference.
I like doing my makeup as well. That gets me going for the day. Just putting on some makeup.
Yeah.
Just going back to my normal work.
I don't have a makeup. I don't have a makeup routine. Unless I was to have a makeup routine.
We could teach.
Doing your hair.
We could teach you to do makeup. That would be fun.
That would be fun.
I don't think that would go very well, but I'm up for learning anything. Okay. Let's leave it there. Thank you to all of you guys, especially Ariana, for being our guest.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Were the girls scary? Did you find them scary?
No, we're all
not
right.
at all. I haven't been able to hear Danielle for the last half an hour, but I think I've been getting the gist by lip reading.
You should have told us.
I know I did, but then I just thought I can get what she's saying, so it's fine.
It's all right. You didn't miss out on much. And thank you, Danielle. And I thought you were going to let that one slide for a sec. Like,
you're lucky you're on the other side of the world.
I'm not going to always be on the other side of the world, so you can save that one for when you see me.
This is true.
All right. Thank you to Danielle and Lauren for their time. Thank you to you guys for watching, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, it's Adrian again. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to head over to pageantlaunch.com and join the launch team for our pageant review site. All you need to do is put in your email address. Thanks, and speak to you next time.